Hello everyone, my name is Kristen Montejo. For some of you who have had class with me before, hello. And for those of you that it's the first class we have, welcome into the program. It's a great program. But my project is more about social media, which is more of what I want to talk about and how it's kind of changed as far as what was first introduced to most people. Social media at some point was more of a communication kind of tool where we would talk to people worldwide, where it wasn't like, calling people over the landline and trying to, buy a phone card to actually call overseas. Now with social media, it's been such a quick transition mixed up and including technology and the changes that have happened in technology had sort of added this extra I guess extra what can I say, like an extra I don't know, I don't remember. A benefit, an extra benefit, an extra benefit to what technology brings into the table. So now, thinking of social media back in when it was first introduced, I mean, many of us had what AOL was like, which had which had the modem and the noise, and then you would go into like chat rooms and you would just chat with strangers, maybe when you shouldn't chat with strangers, and then internet was obviously much slower, but now as time has progressed, there's been so much added into what social media does. Social media is no longer a tool of communication, but now it's being incorporated into education. That's kind of where my presentation goes to, because how is it that social media is all of a sudden incorporated into such a big part of education? And we're talking about hashtags. We're talking about how people get the word across the world. How educators are beginning to use social media. And this is why I picked this, because it's so amazing how people are beginning to incorporate social media. Why? And what's the reason why? I think for the most part, most educators, because kids don't get off their phone. Adults don't get off their phone. They're constantly on their phone. They're constantly using social media to communicate. So what better way to kind of capture them while they're using it in a more effective way? And I think this is where education takes such a big role. So if you're looking into my slide, I just kind of wanted to do kind of a little bit of an introduction of what it was, how social media is starting to be incorporated into sorry, let me just make it where you can see it, right? So little fun facts about social media and the beginning of kind of how it was first kind of thrown in the mix, as I would say. Right. So in 1940, it's kind of like the first supercomputer was built, and the biggest kind of impact for those who created this super new idea, a super new form of technology in the 1940s was, how do we get these two supercomputers to communicate? How does that happen? Now, fast forwarding into like 1960, the earliest form of internet began. Right, 1997, which took a huge jump, was the first social networking site called 6 Degrees. Now, in 1997, I was 7, so I don't know what the 6 Degrees were. But in 2001, the first 6 Degrees shut down forever, and LinkedIn was born. Now, I know what LinkedIn is because most professionals and students who are trying to network and trying to find these amazing jobs usually go through LinkedIn, because I would say that was the social media of professionals, right? In 2002, Friendster is launched, and it reached 3 million users. I've never heard of Friendster, but I guess that was kind of before Facebook, before MySpace. In 2013, MySpace is founded, and the awesome powers of social media was slowly being revealed. So this is when social media began to revolutionize what we currently used till this day, and we are now in 2019. So, in 2004, Facebook goes live. And 2005, YouTube, Read It is launched. 2006, YouTube is brought by Google by 1.6 billion. Okay, 2006, Twitter goes live. And so many more. Obviously, I'm not going to go into detail with all the dates, but these are like small things that kind of started to kind of lead us to where we are today, where social media kind of revolutionizes everything and kind of rules everything, because most people don't say, I'm gonna, for example, me and my friend have been friends for many years, and the way we communicated while she went away to India for all of her college career was through social media, Facebook. We got to see each other through the Facebook chat. We got to talk. These are like huge things that would never be possible without social media. And now things are beginning to change, because social media is saying, okay, you know what? How can we incorporate? How can we use these methods? Not social media, I mean professors, teachers are beginning to see that students don't take their eyes off their technology, don't take their eyes off their phone, don't take their eyes off their laptop. They're constantly there. So, as any teacher would do, we try to gather ourselves and put us in a place where we can kind of communicate with our students. And this is the way we would do so. And this is the changes of social media. So, Twitter was first introduced in 2006, as I mentioned in my previous slide. Who would have thought that Twitter would be used for educational purposes? Looking at Twitter and education, I looked at one article which is called "The use of the Twitter is the creation of educational professional learning opportunities," in which a study sought to examine how educators are using Twitter to increase their professional learning opportunities beyond the boundaries of traditional professional development. And this helped a lot of educators feel a certain sense of fulfillment. Now, looking at so many things, at so many ways, Twitter takes such a great impact in people's lives. It's just hashtags. Hashtags seem to have been the way people communicate. Things have been variously organized because of hashtagging. A lot of people have kind of organized when it came to immigration, when it came to fighting for a cause. A lot of these things are happening through technology and through social media. Obviously, technology is the first step to using social media, but a combination of both has been so effective to getting the word out there for so many things. Then why not use this as a method to communicate with our students, and a method to kind of have that one-on-one with our students? Because sometimes technology in some way has become a barrier between people. And I think educators are finally starting to see that this is how we revolutionize kind of the learning curve, and kind of putting that extra emphasis in what kids are more, I guess, attracted to at this current stage and current generation. Kind of brings such a brings such a new kind of realm into what education is and how education can be used. Not solely the old traditional way, which would be kind of like the idea that students learn in a classroom, but rather than that, seeing that kids can learn outside of classroom using different forms and methods of media to kind of enhance their learning. YouTube, for example, huge tool for so many students. Being able to look at YouTube and use that, plus coming into classroom, like we had seen in one of our previous in a previous assignment, where kind of combination of what would be a video that could kind of break down what a lecture would be, meaning the student is able to go back and to see what was spoken about, and then incorporate it with actual activities when they came to work, could have such a great impact in their learning. It's no longer you hear me and that's it. You better get what what I'm teaching you. Rather of hear me, you may have questions and you can come back and we can talk about it, and we can incorporate this into what your everyday learning in a classroom is about, which is very, very different than what the traditional way of learning, which was more of like take notes, or the constant looking at the professor, trying to catch up with what they were saying, or following with the PowerPoint. So yes, all of these tools are kind of have been incorporated to kind of better what the educational experience would be for a student. And here is social media kind of pushing that extra, I would say, extra page to that chapter of where technology is taking such a huge impact on the learning of both young adults, children, and adult learners in every aspect of the way. And in this particular project, I wanted to talk about that because I don't think we talk about enough how much social media is taking such an impact. And like, for example, Facebook, for many people, Facebook has been almost like a newspaper. People don't read the newspaper anymore because you find out news on Facebook. How videos go viral. People talk about these issues that are going worldwide. With Twitter, hashtagging, for example, the problems that are going on in Venezuela right now with the president and kind of how it's revolutionizing Venezuelans all worldwide, or what they're suffering, pictures, all of these things are being used through social media. And had we not had social media, possibly people in the United States would know a little of, but not enough. And now it's something that's so available to everyone. And that is such a big impact, I think, for students and for instructors and for professors. For us, it's that we are being heard in various ways. It's no longer, if they didn't get in the classroom, we've lost contact with our students. But if they're not getting into the classroom and we add an extra link and we add an extra video and we add slides and we add notes and we add all of these things, we are kind of in some way cocooning our children, our students, by having them know that all around they're protected. All around, if they miss something, they will be able to catch up. They will be able to kind of understand. And I think this is one of the greatest reasons why I picked social media to be my presentation, because it is truly revolutionizing education. I here put a quick video for you guys to see of how social media has changed and what it's used for nowadays. Here are my references, and thank you.